What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you all are healthy and well. Today we'll be checking out a video from Lost in the Pond. Original video link will be down below in the description. Make sure you guys show him some love. This guy actually makes some fabulous, amazing videos. And this is not our first time reacting to his videos. Today we'll be reacting to 6 British things Americans surprisingly embraced? What do you mean embraced? Wait. 6 British things that America basically took over. Like, we said, okay, we're going to make this ours. Let's make it a part of our culture. I don't really see too many other countries doing that with America. I don't really see too many countries, that truly want to take on something that Americans do. It seems that we're always the country to take from another country to make this or that. I don't know. Please let me know in the comments, guys. Are there any other countries out there that actually take from the US, or do you guys tend to do things differently? I can't really think of one thing. Seriously. I cannot. Feel free to check out the original video link in my description down below, along with my Twitch and other YouTube channels. Let's jump right into this. Really?
Hello, we are celebrating the 10-year anniversary of this channel, and it got me thinking that my American viewers have really embraced me over the years. And that got me thinking about some of the other British things that Americans have embraced, some a long time ago, some since I moved here. And the best thing you can do to embrace me without hugs is to subscribe to this channel, and if you haven't yet done that, do that now. In the meantime, here are 6 British things that Americans looked at and surprisingly went, I'll have a bit of that, but in an American accent. Okay, so over the years, I knew that American television had broadcast various British comedies and detective shows. What I didn't realise is that Americans got on board with various British children's TV. When I was at university, I remember having a conversation with an American student about Bob the Builder. We even spent a good hour singing the theme tune after 4 tequilas. And then I moved to America and looked at the TV listings, remember them, and saw Teletubbies. So now I find myself in the uncomfortable position of having to apologise on behalf of my country to America for both Teletubbies and Piers Morgan. Now, I don't have kids of my own because I've raised puppies, and Jesus, that was work. However, I do have nieces and nephews, and a few years ago my sister-in-law recounted how one of them was getting a little too into the British show Peppa Pig. This moment was not lost to history because I tweeted her words at the time. Your niece demanded to watch the Christmas episode of Peppa Pig 3 times today and is now calling Santa Father Christmas. It's funny how our priorities change over time. So in 2025, my to-do list is do research for video, film video, edit video, publish video to the masses. But in 1985, it was watch Thomas the Tank Engine. Everything about it was as British as can be, from the steam trains to the narration by the second best drummer in the Beatles. So imagine my surprise when I found out my now American wife and many others like her also watched it as a child.
Yeah, I love Thomas the Train.
I found out that in addition to Ringo Starr,
Oh. Wait a minute. I didn't really think of that. I didn't know Thomas the Train was...
US version was once narrated by George Carlin. Really? Sorry, I'm just editing.
Wait. Wait. I didn't know Thomas the Train was British. I didn't know that was a British show. Yo, shout out to the US for actually allowing that show over here. Because, a lot of kids really enjoyed that growing up. That was my show. I had all the trains. They even had little magnets so they connected and stuff. I had the track. Bed sheets. It was between Thomas the Train and Light McQueen. Those were the bed sheets and the toys I really had. Word? I didn't know that.
Really?
Wow.
Sorry,
very
I'm just
iconic
editing.
Show. Nah, for real. Y'all just took me back to
As you're going to see in my next video, Americans are big fans of British-style pubs. As I've mentioned before, you'll find these in many towns and cities across the country, serving you the occasional British beer alongside several American ones, and their walls typically have an over-reliance on visibly British things. Still, for me, it's always a way to reconnect with my homeland in a way that, frankly, I wasn't expecting. Perhaps I shouldn't have been so surprised. You see, it turns out that British pubs in America date back to before not just the formation of the United States, but Britain itself. First of all, the oldest watering hole still operating in the US is the White Horse Tavern, located in Newport, Rhode Island. The tavern was constructed by an English settler called Francis Brindley in 1652. I like to think he too went overboard with the British-themed decor. Perhaps a wall or two depicting Charles II, inebriated Puritans, and scurvy. But records indicate that an even older pub existed on this side of the Atlantic, Cole's Inn in Boston, Massachusetts. This was the establishment of the English settler Samuel Cole, who opened the joint just 14 years after the Mayflower docked at Plymouth. Sadly, the pub appears to have burned down in the 1700s, which, to be fair, was an authentically British thing to do. Thankfully, British pubs in America can often be a good way to procure British food that you thought was 3,000 miles that way. Or is it that way? I can't remember. But more on that in the next video. But personally, I'm trying to eat healthy these days. That's why for the past year I've been using Factor. Cooking from scratch sounds romantic. I'm the 80 sells the nice in 2 minutes. It's 55 at 50 beef. To this day, that on the roads,
I really
about the
do
size.
like the theme of his video. Like, he always has a cool theme going on. You know? I really do enjoy that.
Of American cars. And so it still surprises me to this day that the link is in the description below. I often talk on this channel about the size of American cars, and so it still surprises me to this day that on the roads, ever so occasionally, I will see a Mini Cooper. While I was surprised to discover America actually embraced a car as small as the Mini, I was even more surprised to find it actually embraced it twice. During the swinging 60s, when Britain invaded America for the second time, the Mini, fresh from its launch by the British Motor Company in 1959, rode the freshly paved I-90 for the very first time. Sadly, only about 1 in every 185 million Americans bought one, and that was back when the population of America on average was 185 million. Here, I'm using exaggeration to convey how apparently few Americans had seen the Italian Job, because they'd have been all over that shit if they had. Sales of the Mini came to a crashing halt in 1967. As it happens, so did the Summer of Love. Coincidence? Yes, actually. The reason for its initial demise in the United States has nothing to do with poor sales. It was kicked out of the country because it couldn't meet America's new, stricter safety and emissions standards. For a time, America replaced the Mini Cooper with Winnie Cooper, but she was a fictional child, not a car. So in 2002, having been acquired by German motor company BMW, the Mini made a triumphant return to American roads. Now, I'm not sure which type of Americans drive the new wave of Mini, but the one person in this country who I knew to drive one was a colleague of mine, and she was a British-born US citizen. So maybe it's just for us.
I see so many people driving a Cooper Minis around. So many.
In this increasingly fraught world, it is well to remember the immortal words, keep calm and carry on. A very British wartime motivational poster that Americans became more than familiar with at least 13 years ago. What few people know about the poster is that it had considerably more eyes on it in 2012 than at any point during World War.
I've seen that poster so many times as a kid, as a teenager, and I've always wondered, what does this mean? Keep calm and carry on. I thought it was just something that it was a slogan going around that they just made and they put it on t-shirts and stuff, you know. I wasn't really too educated around that time on that. But I was interested. I was like, well, what is that? Why do I keep seeing people wear this? Keep calm and carry on. Is that just like, you know, something that people are wearing? Something peaceful? A little slogan or something?
Is that it had considerably more eyes on it in 2012 than at any point during World War II. And that's because even though the UK's Ministry of Information printed 2.5 million copies of the poster, very few made it onto the streets of Britain. Instead, they remained in storage, and most of the posters were soon pulped as part of Britain's commitment to salvaging paper for the war effort. And so the design would gather dust, seen by almost no one for half a century. That is, until the year 2000, when owners of a UK bookshop discovered one while rummaging through a box of second-hand books. In a moment of inspiration, they placed it next to their cash register, and one of the most famous memes on the internet was born. The poster gained such interest among customers that the owners, Stuart and Mary Manley, decided to print and sell copies of it. As if by word of mouth, it started showing up on everything, from mugs to t-shirts and eventually social media feeds.
Oh yes, the feeds. It's on everything. Like, they put it on everything, hats and everything now.
Feeds. In fact, when I launched Lost in the Pond as a blog in 2013, the meme was at the height of its powers. Readers would send me it almost every day, which perhaps says more about me than them. But one thing that I forgot to mention is that most of those readers were American. You see, it became such a cultural hit in America that Americans adapted it for various uses, such as keep calm and go blue, keep calm and have a cupcake, and the CDC's use of keep calm and wash your hands. Finally, the keep calm poster had exceeded the fame and fortune of other wartime propaganda posters. In the end, you could say that it became a motivational poster not just for civilians, but for itself. Not that posters have feelings. I think it's pretty common knowledge that British music, led by four Scousers in a Mini Cooper, swept America in the 1960s. What's less talked about is that the US Billboard Hot 100 has had not one British invasion, but three. The first of these is said to have lasted from 1964 to 1971, underscoring once again the outrageous influence of the Beatles. But the second British invasion, which has its own Wikipedia page, is often said to have taken place between 1980 and 1989. This is when MTV, which was launched to the sound of Video Killed the Radio Star by the British new wave band, the Buggles, helped other British artists from that genre crack America. Even now, it's not unusual for me to go into an American store and hear songs like Tainted Love by Soft Cell, Rio by Duran Duran, or Sweet Dreams by Eurythmics. On May 25th, 1985, British acts accounted for a staggering 8 songs on the US Billboard Top 10. In fact, throughout the 80s, British artists, including Tears for Fears, Phil Collins, and Bonnie Tyler, spent more time atop the US Hot 100 than their 60s counterparts. And then it all came crashing down. In the 90s and 2000s, there were entire years where no British artist topped the charts. Until then, that hadn't happened since 1963. It kind of...
You guys have a lot of British artists out here that are very popular. A lot of songs that are hits in the US. Still to this day, that will always be an iconic song, universal for everyone, for all ears. You could play it at the beach, at amusement park, anywhere. Everyone in any age group could listen to it. And you know what I'm saying? That type of good music. You guys have so many hits from when I was even in like kindergarten and stuff. And I've been hearing it my whole life. Come to find out 20, 21 years old, 22 years old, I'm still learning to this day that you guys have hits that were actually originated from the UK. And I'm like, wait a minute. And it's kind of funny because when you listen to the music, they don't sound British. They don't. TV shows, same. They don't. You guys are very talented. But then when it comes to interviews, I'm like, wait a minute. He's British? Like, it's amazing. Seriously.
Felt like the British invasion topped the charts. Until then, that hadn't happened since 1963. It kind of felt like the British invasion was over. Until I moved here. You see, it was shortly after then that the third British invasion began to take shape. Coincidence? Definitely not. In 2011, you couldn't move in the US without hearing Rolling in the Deep by Adele, or What Makes You Beautiful by One Direction, or Price Tag by Jessie J. So it makes perfect sense to me that music scholars believe this is when the third British invasion began. Now, signs of a full-on invasion were there for me in my first year when Miley Cyrus released Party in the USA. And I know what you're thinking. Ooh, Lawrence. Miley's American, and that's a song about revelry in the United States of America. Yes, but that song, which you hear every 4th of July without fail, was originally written for and partially by the British artist Jessie J, who I just mentioned.
For me, it was like, hopped on the plane at LAX with my tea and my cardigan. Welcome to the land of famous X. Well, am I going to fit in? So it was my experience of going to LA.
But 2010 saw British artists get significant airplay in the US, from Edward Sheeran to Harold Styles. Which begs the question, when did it end? Well, we're not entirely sure that it did. Those artists, as well as Dua Lipa, Charlie XCX, and Calvin Harris, continue to enjoy mainstream success in America. So far, not one of them has thanked me, but it does raise 2 questions. Will America ever escape the clutches of British music? And number 2, no, it won't.
No, absolutely not. Especially if y'all keep, putting out that organic music, the stuff that's good for all ears that we could play. Without having to worry, is that a curse word? Oh, what did they talk about there? The stuff that we be hearing nowadays. We don't want to hear that. Even the rap is like crazy. It's very different from how it was in the 80s, 90s. I'm a 03 baby, but I listen to music from the 90s. I listen to music, that gets made, in today's time, but I don't know. They don't really say much. Kind of just say the same thing. Then they have like one line, and then they say the same thing again, the same chorus. You guys know what I'm talking about? Versus these songs where it's like 4 or 5 minutes and you're not even saying the same chorus, you know? If you want to hear that chorus that one time, you better go to 2 minutes and 32 seconds. Like, yeah, that's that good organic music. Seriously, man. We got rap artists like I don't want to say like Central C. Say for Central C, more of like a rapper. You guys consider him like an artist or just a straight up rapper? Central C is very talented, and he has made his way into the U.S. and took over. And he has collabed with some of the biggest artists in America, but of course, some of those artists are not even from America; they're from other countries. You know, for example, like Drake from Canada. You know what I'm saying? Like The Weeknd, like stuff like that, man. But I don't know if he collab with The Weeknd, but that'd be fire. Cause I'll be listening to The Weeknd. That would be fire if they did. I don't think Central C and The Weeknd collabed actually. Forgive me, but that would be fire. I was there by that. That'd be fire.
And finally, I was shocked to discover that Americans love our gas. And I'm not just talking about the effects of Newcastle Brown Ale. No, specifically, I mean 2 international petrol companies that just happen to be British. Firstly, you might have heard me talk before about BP, which stands for British Petrol.
Wait a minute.
Those are all over the US. In fact, at the time of the Deepwater Horizon oil spill, I couldn't help feel both dismay and a sense that this also felt like a British invasion. Secondly, I discovered quite recently that America has no shortage of another major UK petrol company, Shell.
No way! Get the hell out of here! Seriously? Guys, Shell is very big out there in North Jersey. You know, my grandparents, they're out there at Piscataway. You see these gas stations everywhere. Everywhere. That's why I looked at this one like that, because I was like, oh, wait a minute. Over here in South Jersey, we got Wawa's and stuff. We got Wawa and we got Sunoco. And even Wawa's gas is bad because they dilute the petrol with water. I gotta stop saying gas. Gas don't make sense. They dilute the petrol with water, and that's how it's cheaper and it lasts longer. I don't like that. They make you come back actually sooner. They say it lasts longer, but they actually make you come back sooner. So when I start switching my gas and I go to places like this, I realize my tank, it can last for like another week. Now Strac, I mean, I don't be speeding. Yeah, but I be getting where I gotta go safely. My tank be on E by the time I get there. I'm like, my goodness. Come on, Honda. When I go to these different gas stations, I really realize a difference in quality with the petrol. How the hell does that make sense? That's not supposed to work like that, bro. It's not supposed to work like that. It's all supposed to be the same. I'm going to these gas stations from now on, bro. Yeah, I got a Shell about 6 minutes away. And it's the only one I've seen in my area. What? Really?
I couldn't help feel both dismay and a sense that this also felt like a British invasion. Secondly, I discovered quite recently that America has no shortage of another major UK petrol company, Shell. And before Uncle Toby types, Lawrence, how did it take you this long to realise Shell has gas stations in America? It didn't. It took me this long to realise Shell is, in fact, British. That's right, despite boasting the most gas
facts. I learned both today.
Stations of any petrol company in the US. Shell traces its humble beginnings to a small antique shop in London. That's right. In the 1830s, Marcus Samuel, a London shopkeeper, sold trinkets, curiosities, and most importantly, decorative seashells to Victorians. It was after these that Shell would later take its name. However, from 1870, Marcus Samuel could no longer run the business due to dying, so it fell to his sons, Marcus and Samuel, one named after him, the other after his whole family. Given that they looked like this, their only viable career option was to become wealthy oil magnates. Accordingly, they expanded their dad's business and renamed it the Shell Transport and Trading Company. Eventually, the company that once sold polished clams decided to take on Standard Oil, America's mighty monopoly. By 1907, after merging with a Dutch firm, the Royal Dutch Shell Company was born. And suddenly, the quaint London Shell shop was fueling half the world and making Rockefeller's empire look a bit, well, standard.
You raised 2 genius sons. You died and they took over and expanded your business further than you even imagined. I know he's up in heaven smiling down on his boys. Damn. Nah, they took that. They didn't fumble. They did not fumble. They did not fumble at all. I didn't know that. Now, okay, what are some things that other countries have embraced by the United States? Because I'm not aware of that either. I
I
mean,
realize that makes it.
besides like a Walmart and stuff like that, and even you don't stick to our same policies in those countries. We got to leave it to that country. That way, it could benefit, in suit and fit the locals out in that country. Not how our country is. You can't keep the same rules and policies. So besides like a Walmart and stuff like that, I'm talking about like franchises and businesses. Like, okay, scratch that. Walmart is a franchise and business. I'm talking about like other gas stations, maybe smaller stores, things that I wasn't aware about. Walmart is a worldwide thing, you know? It's in a lot of countries. But I'm talking about other things. Besides that, I like the video, right? I'm about to say. I understand that the United States embraced a lot of things from other countries, but what are some things that other countries embraced from the United States and decided to keep within their countries? I said keep because I wanted to see, like, long lasting this and that. While the US is famously a melting pot of global traditions, it has exported plenty of its own flavor back to the rest of the world. Okay, interesting. Many countries have not only embraced these Americanisms, but have woven them so deeply into their daily lives that they are now permanent fixtures? What are we talking about? Like a Starbucks? A Dunkin' Donuts? Is that what we talking about? Okay, hold on, because it did say everyday lives, so I'm thinking about what, a coffee? Would you get a coffee for Starbucks every? Let's see. Hollywood movies, music. Oh yeah, of course, holiday traditions. American films dominate global screens, making up nearly half of the movies shown in European and Asian theaters. Really? Really? This has made American lifestyles and stereotypes feel familiar even to those who have never visited the US. Hmm. But we also have a lot of like British, Canadian, and Australian, actors and actresses. I get that in Australia, you guys don't differentiate them. You guys just say actor and that's it. Um, it's not actor and actresses. Please forgive me. But like, I'm talking about in terms of other countries as well. Actors and actresses. A lot of them come from other countries and they dominate in the US, and then those movies get shown out in other countries. So is it like strictly American actors and actresses? Same with the pop and the music. I understand we all listen to each other's music. Yeah, we all listen to each other's music. In no way I'm out here bumping Central C and y'all not bumping something from the United States. You know what I'm saying? Come on. Holiday traditions, American lifestyle. Well, yet again, I listen to reggae. I listen to a lot of like different. I listen to rock, not rock and roll, country. I listen to it all. Very diverse. I'm not gonna lie. American style Halloween, complete with costumes and commercialism. Okay. Celebrated across Europe and Japan, and many unique traditions emerged in the 70s, where millions of people eat Kentucky Fried Chicken Christmas dinner. Okay, so KFC. Okay. Food lifestyle, McDonald's, yup, Starbucks. I knew it. Okay, so we're actually, I don't want to say we're more in common than I thought, because I knew we were in common, but like, I just couldn't think off the dome. What are some things that you guys are really taking from the US and keeping, like, as yours? Like how the US does. And I just really couldn't think of any, so I had to look this up. Although I knew that there were some out there. Doggy bags, rest of leftover American habits that were once rare, once now increasing in Europe elsewhere. The widespread, forgive me guys, the widespread use of air conditioning, ice and drinks, and doggy bags for restaurant leftovers are American habits that were once rare, but are now increasingly common in Europe and elsewhere. Hmm. Hmm. The widespread use of air conditioning? Customer conveniences? Wait, so in other countries before, they didn't really like have the air on for customers, stuff like that? And then like they figured, oh, maybe this is better for business. They may stay longer and actually shop. I used to work at Ralph Lauren, and guys, we had to be dressed up and everything to the T, and it's hot, hot. And then we got the customers coming in with tank tops, and they're sweating. They're like, it's hot. Y'all can't put the air on? I'm sorry, man. But we got that fan right there on the floor blowing at your legs. And they walk right out. They don't even want to shop. So maybe, hey, this is how we draw customers in and keep them shopping for longer. And then they'll come back because they're going to remember, nah, they ain't got no AC. We not going in there. Oh my gosh. The assembly lines, such as like technology and industry. Okay, so we really have a lot, of course, cell phones, laptops. We really have a lot in common. And we both, the American people and the British people, we use what our countries have made. The UK has taken some things, should I say, embraced some US Americanisms, and America has definitely embraced a lot from the British culture, or should I say from the UK in general. It's amazing. It's amazing seeing how far some of these things actually went, seeing how they originated and how far it actually went, especially the shell. I've been seeing a shell since I was this big. This big. I've been seeing shell, man. And I only see it up north. I'm like, I see one right there, shell, but it's so tiny. It's so tiny. It don't even got a store. It's a booth. Like, it looked like they're supposed to be there. Like, they just put it there to satisfy. It's like, here you go. Here, we'll put this right here. Like, it don't even look like the proper shell. That's why I was like, when I see those two gas stations, I'm like, wait, that's up north. And that's British? Very interesting. And I'm going to start rocking with those gas stations from now on. I'm going to, actually find them somewhere. But this is amazing, actually reacting to and learning about 6 British things Americans surprisingly embraced. Wow. And it was actually shocking learning some of the things that, forgive me, things that like other countries actually embraced from America. That was very shocking as well, because I couldn't think of anything but that Walmart at that point in time. I'm like, what else are they using from us? Because it seemed like every other country would be disregarding everything of ours. Like, oh, we don't want to use that. We're not taking that because of like, certain things. But I guess not. This is a great video. I'm sorry if it was long, guys. Please forgive me. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, turn all post notifications on. Please continue to educate me in the comments down below. I love you all, and stay safe. I know I'm not going crazy, guys. This has literally been happening all day. Did I not like this video? I literally liked this video in the middle of reacting to this video. We was like over here with it, and I've been liked it. I've been liked the video. Why is it that when I start recording and I click off the video, it say unliked? Like, what's up? They get like, oh my gosh. I had to go ahead and press record again and go ahead and like this video again so that nobody think like, bro, you unliked the video? Absolutely not. It's like every time okay, we're going to settle this right now. Let's see if it does it if I click out. No? Oh, I figured it out. If I click out the tab, see? Look, so you guys know I'm not BSing. And you too, Lost in the Pond, amazing channel, amazing video. You are a great guy, so you as well know I'm not BSing. Every time I click out the tab and I come back, it unlikes the video automatically. Oh my goodness. I figured it out. Okay, I thought I was losing my mind. Y'all stay safe.